Hello and welcome back to my craft room. Well, it's dark and dreary outside. We've had thunderstorms on and off all day, but I've been cosy in here in my craft room playing with buttons. So I got sent some lovely art journal books from Deb earlier this week, Deborah Wrigley. You'll know her if she's in the Discord. You'll know Deb if you're in the Discord. And as well as the lovely art journal books, she also sent me some buttons which were from her late mum's stash of buttons, her old button tin. I thought it was lovely of her to send them to me, and particularly meaningful because Deb herself has a real phobia about buttons, particularly pearl buttons, which is what these were. So I thought it'd be nice to do something special with them rather than just sew them in with all my other. I'm nuts about buttons and I've got lots of them. I thought I'd do something special with them, so let me show you what I've been playing with. I've already taken apart, some of them were on wires like this, all in little bundles. Beautiful, beautiful little buttons. These were some of hers, these and these. These I believe were from the ones from Deb. Now, and these, I thought I'd have a go at making some button jewellery because I always think that's quite cute and easy and quick, and something you could even do with the kids really. But there's so many different YouTube videos, if you check them out, different ways of doing this. But I wanted to see if I could find something that didn't involve, I have got a lot of jewellery equipment, the tools and supplies and things, but I thought I'd just see what I can do with sort of ordinary supplies. So I got this kind of cord here, it's just a cotton. I think it helps to have a waxed one so it doesn't, or run it over a wax candle or some beeswax if you got it, will help just to stiffen it the end slightly for threading through the buttons, and also to stop it getting tangled. Just measuring this, it's less than a millimetre thick. It's about half a millimetre at the most thick because it needs to be able to go through the holes in the buttons. So first experiment I'm going to have is a two-stranded necklace, and I've arranged the buttons. I've thrown in, so these yellow ones, these blue ones came in the package that Deb sent me, and then I've thrown in some of my own as well. So there's odd ones where I've only got one of them, like that one, which I really like that one. Came off of some old garment. Some that I've got a few of that I've dotted around. I've got a couple of those flower shaped ones, all these little dinky pearl ones. I reckon that's about as the most distance I want between them. I don't want them crammed together for this style. I want them spaced about like that. I'm going to pull off enough of this cord to comfortably thread all of them, but then I've got to allow for knots as well. So let's do twice what I think I'm going to need. That seems like an awful lot, but hey, let's see how we go. But now I'm going to fold it in half. So this top strand is actually slightly shorter than the bottom strand, but hopefully I've allowed far too much. What I've done is just got a little bit of this strong glue and rubbed it into the tip of the end of the cord, just to stiffen it up and make it easier to go through the buttons without fraying. So I just need to do that with the other end of this cord as well. I'll tell you what, there's nothing much nicer than when it's all dark and icky outside and you don't have to go anywhere. You can sit in your room and play. Some of this sense of, oh, it's a lovely day outside, I really should go and plant up those plants I bought the other day. I really should go for a walk and enjoy the great outdoors. It's actually, if I'm honest, there's nowhere I'd rather be than right here. It's funny sorting them out into the different sizes so I could sort of make the sizes different all the way along. It just reminded me of what I was talking about the other day, just sorting through my grand's button box. Sorting them into sizes and colours and things. Okay, so I've got this extremely long piece of cord, which is probably way longer than it needs to be, and I've just folded it in half, and then I'm going to choose one of these. I think you call these shank buttons, don't you, where you've got like a, instead of it being holes through the middle, you've got these like loops on the back of them to sew them on with. So I'm going to choose one of these. I feel like maybe the yellow one goes a bit better. Thread that onto my cord and pull it all the way through to that middle point. So that is going to end up being my closure button. I mean, with a necklace, with a really long necklace, I wouldn't need, the simplest way would be to make it really long and I wouldn't need a closure. So I'm gonna just tie a knot here to keep this one where I want it. Okay, so I'm going to thread the top no, I'll thread the bottom. I'll thread the bottom first. I don't think it matters which of these ones I take. And then I'm just gonna thread the button up from the bottom, and back down through the top. I don't know if I'll end up being able to make them all face kind of the right way or not. I'm going to leave, that's about the space I want to leave between my buttons. So then I need to kind of lock it there. I suppose, I mean, maybe I should try not putting a knot at the back. I should just try leaving it like that, because that would be the simplest thing, wouldn't it? What I was planning to do was knot each one in place, because that's what some of the videos I've watched, that's what people do. But really, is that necessary? Because this cord is quite thick, it's probably gonna hold where it is. I think I might try not doing the knot. Let's see what happens. Perhaps it will turn out as a really good reason why they do. So I'm coming up through the bottom of my button, back down through the top again, and pull it all the way up. You could use crochet cotton for this, I guess, couldn't you, as well? So what I'm going to get now is that we're all going to turn different ways, but that would happen even if I did knot it. Okay, I've just double checked one of the videos I was watching, and basically you don't worry about which way around the buttons are. I'm going to knot them because they knot them, and I think there must be a good reason for that. So this is going to be quite awkward while the cord is so long, and probably it's longer than I need, and I'm making life difficult for myself. But I'm just going to, once I've threaded my button on like that, I'm gonna tie a knot. What I'll do is I'll leave a link to the video that I've been looking at, because it's only 59 seconds long. So obviously they're not showing you a lot of details. You've got to kind of work it out a little bit yourself. So I've just tied a knot like that. I don't think I'm going to do a double knot. It just feels like it's going to look too clumsy if I do a double knot. Right, let's try the next one. So I'll keep threading them on the same way each time. So the knot will be on the wrong side of the button, but as I say, I think you haven't got a lot of control over which side is going to show when you put it on. Okay, so I threaded that there, and now I'm going to, this is going to be a lot easier when I'm not trying to hold it up to the camera. There we go. Right, let's do one more, and then I'll carry on working my way through and come back when I'm ready to start the next strand. So I'm going up from the bottom, down through the top, pulling my button all the way along. If I look at the distance between the knots, that's going to be about even. That's about 1.5 centimetre apart, and then I'm just tying a single knot. I don't think it needs a double knot. I'm going to keep threading these on, and I'll come back and show you in a sec when I'm ready to start the next strand. Okay, so what I've discovered is that, well, for one thing, I really didn't need the cord anything like this long, so I could have made it easier on myself. And the other thing is, I'm just not worrying about which way the buttons are going at all. I'm just letting them fall as they want and just being quite casual about it, because I think the overall effect will be fine. So it's really actually much easier than I was making it look to start with. Obviously when you get a button that's got 4 holes like that one, you just go in 2 of them, you go diagonally opposite. You don't want to go and try and go in all 4 holes, or you're getting a pickle. So I've just pulled the button up to where I want it, and then I'm just tying a single knot. Make sure I'm about the right distance apart before I pull the knot up. Simple as that. So I'm going to go through and finish all of the buttons on that strand. So there's my closure button. When I've got all of this line done, then I'm going to go on to this other piece of the other length of the cord. I've got it a bit shorter before I start this time, and then I'm going to thread those on, and then I will come back when I'm ready to knot off and finish my closure. And I might just need a couple of little beads to finish that off, so I'll have a look for them as well. Right, I've done really well. Once I got it sussed, it was ever so easy to do, and I've finished stringing that second strand a little bit smaller. See if I can manage to show you. It's hard to show you. They look really nice hanging up. They hang really nicely. So now I've just knotted the two together there, and then what I want to do is make another knot and just leave a little loop between the two knots that's just big enough for that shank button to go in. So I want it about there. So I'm just going to form the knot, and then I'll just check it before I put it tight, because you don't want it too tight and you don't want it too loose either. Yeah, once I was sat doing this comfortably kind of in my lap, it was ever so easy to do. It's a bit more difficult when you're holding your arms out at arm's length in front of the camera. So there we go. I'm just going to pull that down a little bit. Just want it not quite that much of a gap. Just depends on what size button you're using, I guess. Pull that tight, and then I'm going to cut these off to a more manageable length. See that those are way too long. I could have made life a lot easier for myself. So now I got this little pot of white beads. I'm just going to get a couple of beads with a big enough hole. I thought white will look alright with this. Big enough hole for these to go through. And now I haven't got the glue on the end now, have I? Maybe I should have just left them long until I'd done this part, but that's okay, it's gone through. And then I'll just tie another knot here. Pull that tight. Snip it. I'll do the other one just slightly longer, just so they sit nicely together. Oh, need to put the bead on first. Push that through the hole, no problem at all. And I'm just going to make this one slightly longer so they sit nicely together like that. Just hold that bead where I want it to be and slide the knot up. There. To put it on, I'll just pop that button through the little loop like that. There we go. Ah, that's really cute. It's hard to show you what it looks like here, really. What I'll do is I'll try and take a couple of pictures and put on the end. But yeah, I think that's quite nice. I think it'll look really nice with summery things, you know, like a white top and a pair of jeans. I think it'll look really nice in the summer. So that's that one. These were buttons that came in the pack that came from Deb. I think those are the ones that came from Deb. And then I had these, which I've been hoarding for ages. I got in a charity shop or something. And then another few odd ones. Oh, not that one. That belongs there. And then ones that I thought would go together to make a nice kind of a neutral colour scheme. And I need to find a shank button for that as well. There's another one there. And then for this one, I'm going to use this lovely old twine I've shown before with other projects that we found in John's dad's shed after his mum passed away. We were clearing out his shed. And it's this lovely, I just love it. I love the texture of it, I love the colour of it. It's really strong and smooth. And I think that would look really nice with these colours. So it's purples and pinks. These were the ones that came in the Deb parcel, and these are all ones from my button jar. And there's the one I've picked out as the closure button, which I love because it's got this little bit of fabric in the middle. Really like that. And then there's these red ones. Again, I think those were from the Deb parcel. Those are from the Deb parcel. Those might have been, or they might have been in my button jar. These were definitely in my button jar. So there's lots of different ways you can do it, and this is a different way that I saw, and this was, I'll try and remember to link to this one as well. It was a video from a few years ago by Jennifer Maguire, who I used to watch for card making things. So I'm not gonna do the full thing now. I just wanted to show you how she threaded these because it just looked really pretty. So she went up through the button, up through one hole and back down through the other hole, and slid the button all the way to the end. I think she'd already put her closure one on the end there. Then she took another button. Let's take a contrasting one. Let's take this one. in one hole, back down through, and again where you got the four, where you got the four buttons, you go diagonally opposite, like that. And she slid that along to meet the first button. All the way up, push them right up next to each other like that, as far as they'll go. So it ends up doing this. So as you slide the button towards the button that's already on there, it's really hard to hold up and show what I'm doing. They sort of half overlap like that. And she did say that it works better with buttons that are a similar size, but I'm going to try one going onto a smaller one now, just to see what happens, just to see if that really matters. I love this one with the sort of mother of pearl with the sort of striations through it. Thread my button on, slide it all the way along to meet the two that are already on there, until it butts up against that first one there. And they're all overlapping each other. I think this could look really pretty. And there's like two right sides to it, really. Okay, let's take these others off of here. I'll maybe go another bigger one now. I've got quite a lot of these. Let's go, yeah. I love these. I've been hoarding this particular set of buttons for years. Right, slide that. So there's my button there. Slide it all the way along. And you don't want to leave it like that. You're going to push it right up until they kind of overlap. And although I can kind of see what she says about it works better with ones that are similar sizes, but I quite like the look of it with them being different sizes. I think it's okay. I mean, maybe it means you'll get gaps there where you can see the other one from behind, but that doesn't matter to me. I love the look of that. So I'm not going to worry about the size thing. I'm consistently coming up from the back of the button and going back down through. I've done that all the way through. Right, let's pull this one up. You don't want to pull it on so far that it just sort of does that and you end up with 3 layers. You want it to sort of sit flat like that. That makes sense. I like the way they link together. I really like that. Nice. So I'm going to carry on and thread the rest of these. I probably need to unthread actually and decide what I'm doing about my closure. Let's do it this way. Let's take these off. Now I know that that's going to work. Don't think I'm going to have enough for a necklace. I think I'll go bracelet, which I guess is going to be more than long enough. So let's just use a normal button. Let's go for this one. So again, I'm going in the back of the button, coming up, going down through, diagonally opposite. Some of the threads back at the back of the button, like that. And now I'm going to pull that through until the threads, until the button's halfway along the thread. So the thread's folded in half and my button's there. And now I just cut these level, put my bit of glue on, because I'm going to put both these, I'm going to thread both these through each button. That's what I'm hoping. So let's start with one of these smaller ones. I'm doing exactly the same thing, except I'm putting 2 threads, 2 thicknesses of thread through at the same time. I'm just leaving a bit of an end like that. I think that'll be enough. Next button. Let's use a bigger one this time. And I'm just going to just push it all the way up until it goes as far as it can, and just overlaps that other button, so it doesn't want to go any further. Different colour, different size. Yeah, I quite like them at different sizes. I don't think it's a problem, which is fortunate. and then at the end I'll tie another knot pretty much like I did with the first one, that will just end up looping around this larger button that I've put there. And I think we're going to be bracelet length, because with these buttons overlapping obviously they're not going to go so far. Well, this seems like a nice thing to sit and have on my lap in front of the telly in a minute, and I will come back in the morning and show you how they turned out. I'm having a lovely time. Threading buttons, oh, it takes you back. It really does. Okay, well, I decided to just quickly finish this one before I went downstairs, and I'm so chuffed with it. Look how that came out. I love it. It feels nice and it sounds really nice. Deb probably won't agree with me because it is mostly belly buttons, but yeah, I'm really pleased. I will actually enjoy wearing this. I think it will go with easily with lots of things all through the year. I've just did exactly the same as I did on the necklace, just tied it off there, tied another knot, leaving a loop between big enough to pop this closure button through. Oop. And then I just found a couple of little wooden beads to finish it off with. I'm well chuffed with that. I think it's the sort of thing that when I'm putting it on, I'll have to get my husband to help me do it up. I don't know about to do it one-handed. I'm never very good at things like that. Those buttons that I had there were enough to make a generous size bracelet. They wouldn't have been enough for a necklace because of course you're overlapping them all. I love that it's double-sided. It doesn't matter, you know, it doesn't matter which way it ends up. Love that. So I'm glad I've got this. This is going to be definitely more of a summer thing, but I do love it. And I've still got enough to make. I'm going to make another 2 bracelets out of these now. I might try this one with I've got some thin black cord I might use for these 2. I think that will, or maybe I'll just try just the one on that stretchy elastic cord just to see what it's like. But yeah, I don't think I'm going to enjoy doing that as much. Okay, so that's it. So the next thing you'll see will be a photo at the end, I think, of how they all turned out. So I hope you enjoyed that or found that inspiring. I'm going to have a look for some other ways to use buttons because I have got a lot of them and I love playing with them. So if you've got any ideas for other ways to use buttons, I've seen all sorts of things, ideas for little key fobs and all kinds of things I saw. So yeah, if you've got any ideas, let me know in the comments, and hopefully I'll have time to try them out. Thank you very much for watching me today. I hope you enjoyed that, and I will see you again really soon.